Exactly 6 minutes past 9. Smart means a business. I'm Andrew Barigi, and I'm with Godwin Batuma right now as we are driving through your business journey right there. And of course, the great things from all our viewers that have stuck with us all from 7 a.m. when we started with the morning call, coming in down to the different updates. And as today we are taking a look at the role of technology when it comes to investor protection. You know, quite lots of possible revenues are lost due to lack of a streamlined investment atmosphere. And with relying on the human heads, the human efforts, of course, they adapt to lose in some sort of a way or fail to execute as they are really highly expected. Of course, Smart Means Business, Channel 373, that is on DSTV. And channel 320 on GOTV. You can catch us all the way as we broadcast to you this. And for those of you that are social media fans at Smart24 TV, that's on X or Twitter, Smart24 TV official. That's on Facebook and the Smart24 TV Live. And here you will be able to stream Smart24 TV regardless of where you're located across the globe, as we bring you the international and local updates. And we believe it's quite key and important when it comes to decision making and implementation by the different middle managers and any manager at any level, at any managerial level that you be at. That way. And now for those that are fascinated with the gadgets, the Smart Digital application is up here. You can go to your Google Play Store, download the application, and the beauty about this application that you can stream Smart24 TV, Smart FM, and NBS Radio at the same time. So that is quite a huge package for you there, but it also enables you to be able to view Smart24 TV regardless of where you're located. That's, you know, we're into the digital age, and the Smart24 TV, we definitely can't be left behind as a result of that. Well, heading back into our topic of discussion this morning, the role of technology in investor protection. Of course, recently we're taking a look at some of the different initiatives that are being put in place to make sure investor protection, tech-related investments, and we saw the mobile money platforms. In case for those that just joined us, platforms like Mobile Money and Airtel, which have actually done a great job. We went to see the digital trading platforms. And of course, we benchmarked from the Uganda Securities Exchange, the digital trading platform it launched, which can help, which is promoting transparency when it comes to stock trading. Coming in down to data analytic tools for Ugandan startups like Informatic and Eversense data, which offer data-driven insights for investors. So data analytics is part of how technology is helping protect investors, and blockchain-powered platforms, you know, like we saw Eversense, BitPesa, all these utilize blockchain technology. But well, wonderful, thank you. These have been established. What next? What is the value that we are witnessing as a result of these initiatives?
I mean, it's interesting, right? In respect to that,
yeah,
we also see here there's alignment of IT spending and business capabilities. So we see which can improve the efficiency and effectiveness of technology investments. So we see a lot of people being able to pay through their websites, be able to track money that's coming to their website, be able to track the revenue that's coming to their website. I mean, we recently saw this with Nicki Minaj, right? She's recently sold, she was the highest grossing album sales this week. She was #1 on the Billboard charts. But one of the things that she's done so well, because we're asking about her rollout, one of the things she's done really well is she was able to drive a lot of traction towards her website.
Traction, okay.
As an individual, a lot of times as an artist, you have a backing of a whole, whatever, you have Republic Records, you have Atlantic Records behind you.
Exactly.
So in her case, she has Republic Records, but it's not supporting her financially as they should. So she's almost forced, almost be pseudo independent, if that makes sense. Almost trying to push yourself and promote yourself. It's almost like being on TV and you have to be forced to be out there and say, I'm Andrew Barigi, but you do have a station behind you, but it's not really. You know what I mean?
I get you.
Yeah, so what she's done really smartly is being able to create much and drive it towards her website. So through her website, she's able to monetize, she's able to track and say, this is how much money is coming to me as an individual. How many people have bought my shirts?
Yeah.
how much money and revenue is coming into my account, as opposed to, oh, the station knows how much has come into your account, we'll let you know afterwards, if that makes sense. So
lots of it.
Yes. So with this, be able to with this website creation and stuff like that, you're able to track and digitize and be able to understand how much value on a minute level that you're actually bringing
through. Very interesting. And of course, with the mobile money platforms, according to a report here in 2021, the value of mobile money transactions in Uganda reached about $71 billion. Yeah, contributing significantly to GDP growth and financial inclusion. And now this increased access to financial services kind of going to attract more investors and boost investment activity that is in the country. So that is the mobile money platforms according to report in 2021. And now, of course, when we still get back to the digital trading platforms, for example, the Uganda Securities Exchange Initiative, since the launch of that initiative, we see that the volume of trade increased to about 30%. Yes, the volume of trades have increased by 30%. And now this improved market liquidity attracts even more investors and potentially increases returns to the already existing ones. And I think this explains why not so many people and well-versed have this fear of financial markets. You know, of course, first of all, the entire concept, when people see these figures displayed, you know, I mean, it sounds a little bit complicated to interpret for the human mind. Of course, as you get exposed to them with time, but to a green person, it may be really very hard for you, that you actually need a guide of a tool.
It's such an important tool right now, especially talking about technology and how technology and that protection is going to help investment, right? We talked about how, remember the part we talked about tourism? And how a lot of people are able to tour a country before they actually go to the country. They're able to identify which is the best places to eat at, which is the best places to travel, which are the best hotels to spend at, which is cheaper, which is more expensive, as opposed to having a blanketed almost idea of the country. The AI is able to curate for you and say, listen, between January and March, if you're planning to travel within that time, this is the best places to visit. If you're planning to travel between December, in a peak season, in the festive season, this is the best time to be able to travel. This is how much you should spend, how much you expect to spend. What the AI is doing is curating experiences, it's curating feedback from a lot of people, all that, what they call it, data analytics, and all the things that's been fed into Google searches. It's been able to trap all of that and be able to have a detailed analysis of where you can go. So it's same thing for investors as well. As they're looking into a space and say, I'm investing into this, I don't have the time to understand all these figures, as you mentioned. It's very tricky for people to look at all those figures on the board and be like, oh, this makes a lot of sense. As an investor, all I have is the money. I really don't want to overthink.
I don't want to think. Tell me that when I put this
Tell me which is the best place to invest.
Period of March, I'm expecting this return.
Right. So this AI systems and the technology that's advanced is able to tell you, listen, this is the best place to invest, this is the best time to invest, and this is the best place, whatever, to invest. So that helps them a lot. That's how it's definitely being able to bolster the economy regarding that space.
Okay. Amazingly beautiful. Now, of course, with the data analytics tools, which actually the data analytics are key. I was telling some people on the other side that sometimes for record levels to get an artist, they need to take a look at the data, the analytics, so that they know that are you not a risk when they invest in you. Now, Informatic, of course, Informatic, which I mentioned to you, which is a data analytic firm that provides investment insights to investors. It estimates that their data insights helped clients to avoid losses of over $5 million. That is come 2022. Now this demonstrates the potential of technology to mitigate risks and safeguard investments. But of course, $5 million, that's equivalent to about 15 billion. You get in shillings. This is just a little estimated that we can say that is lost by foreign investors. Of course, not all is put out in the tabloids to find out, but $5 million. So if that can be saved, before you know it, we save $10 million, $20 million, and once all these revenues get back to the economy, it will definitely facilitate investment and also the growth of a financial center, which are the financial markets. And once the markets grow, they prove to be profitable at the end of the day and attracting more market. And whether we like it or not, in that scenario, we shall be experiencing economic growth and development. Of course, the interest rates set at a fair price, people having access to enough credit, and the spending power increases as a result of that. Now, of course, for the blockchain-powered platforms, BitPesa facilitated over $100 million in cross-border payments come 2022. And now this opens new investment opportunities for Ugandan businesses and attracts foreign investors seeking access, that is, to the emerging markets as such. Now, of course, if we take a look at other countries, in Kenya, M-Pesa, Kenya's mobile money platform, has been instrumental in driving financial inclusion and investment activity. Uganda can actually pick a leaf from Kenya's experience to further leverage mobile money for investment promotion.
Interesting, right? There's a lot that's happening over there. Yes. So we see that movement that's really, really happening. Yeah. And of course we see, product governance is something we talk about.
Product governance.
Where of course technology can help us assess, managers design and deliver products that meet the needs and expectations of their target market and ensure good outcomes for their clients. Of course, technology can also help the asset managers comply with regulatory measurements and requirements, right? So we see such as disclosing relevant information, providing value for money, and managing conflicts or interests. So this is something that is really going to be able to bolster their spend power. It's also going to bolster their revenue or ROI, because they're going to be able to have these things defined with AI. It's crazy how we're just a tool away, but I always say this, the news predicts the weather. So this is something we talked about before, about 4 months ago. 4 months. But now listen, AI is here. I'm talking about AI in terms of how can we upskill, how can we work with the AI, how can AI help investment, how can AI technology help tourism. We're here. How can AI help with climate prediction, things like that.
And you see, I love the fact that it's all heading into the different sectors. Health, it's already in there. Finances, already there. The government of Uganda is embracing these particular moves. I heard about the e-procurement system too. That is yet to be out there. Well, now if we take a look at Rwanda, Rwanda's focus on, Rwanda has been quite a huge hub when it comes to fintech development and evolution of that. Now, the focus on fintech innovation and digital governance has attracted significant foreign investment in Rwanda, and I have a feeling that 10 years from now, Rwanda, besides Mauritius, will be one of those countries with high foreign direct investment.
I would not be surprised at all.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Especially considering we had this conversation about them almost lifting the visa requirements for at least 6 months or 3 months into the year. And that is a very calculated move by Rwanda to be able to bolster trade, to bolster investment, and most importantly, bolster tourism for the country. So the fact that they're opening up their borders like this in an unprecedented way that they've never done before. It's for them to be able to attract this kind of direct and foreign investment to come into the country. So it starts with that opening of the borders, and you're going to find a lot of people saying, let's invest directly. We don't have to tap the country, we just need to see how investable it is. So that's what's changing.
Beautiful. South Africa has a well-developed infrastructure regulatory framework, of course, which provides a stable environment for investors. And Uganda can actually borrow readily from these regulatory frameworks, seeing them being put in place as a result of that. But still we need to understand that despite all these, there is increased challenges and challenges, of course, which come along with it, and opportunities presented. As limited the access to reliable internet and digital literacy remains a challenge in rural areas, of course, which is bridging the digital divide, which is crucial for inclusive investment growth. The rural areas are left out behind, which so the digital divide is actually extended way further. And once we have uneven development development which is not inclusive in terms of being spread, that about social tension. People are contented. Before you know it, crime rates increase, which is also gets back to the economy in terms of attracting investors.
But also think about in terms of investment, and we're saying how technology influences that sort of investment. A lot of the people in the rural areas aren't very familiar with technology, how to use it, how to put the information out in the technology spheres, right? So imagine how you're going to predict that the weather is unpredictable, especially in the climate change, the climate crisis we're having. If these people aren't documenting what's happening on ground, or they do not know how to document daily, it's going to affect investment in terms of accurate results to say, listen, if I invest in this period of time, I'll be able to accrue interest in the next 2-3 years of investing in cabbage or whatever. We don't have enough people feeding information to the internet, because remember, for that information to work, for AI to work, you have to feed information to it. So if people in rural areas are not even touching internet, first of all, internet is a problem. Our internet infrastructure is lagging behind, right? So especially in the very rural areas where a lot of times we plant, where agriculture systems are set up. So if we're not able to liaise or integrate that into the new space where we have agriculture systems integrated with the internet, we don't have enough information that's fed enough for investors to say this is concrete enough for me to say this makes sense, I can invest, it's investable.
Because if we are saying that the agriculture being incorporated with the tech related aspects, and yet the areas which need this most are not included,
right?
Then it's like washing and you hung in this dust.
Absolutely, it's washing your clothes and hanging. A beautiful analogy that you've just used. So if we're focusing mainly in these areas, so a person wants to invest in agriculture. If you're hearing agriculture is our bread and butter, especially in Uganda, and you're thinking, Uganda is known for its agriculture. As an investor, I would love to be able to find out what the analytics are. What are the analytics in terms of agriculture, from consumer to produce, from produce to consumer? How does that work? How is it looking like, especially in this last year? Because the weather is changing consistently, and the weather, the infrastructure affects how the money comes in. If you aren't having accurate results being reported because of the lack of proper internet infrastructure in the rural areas, it's going to affect me, because I'm thinking these results are inconclusive, or they're not making any sense for me as an investor. So economically, that doesn't make any sense.
Absolutely, very true. And like we say, for any country to actually experience any economic growth and development, the first key aspect is into the education. How is the education system tailored when it comes to promoting ethics and the work-related culture in those individuals? So these rural areas, you find that actually they don't even have access to education, the basics of education. Not so many of them have access to the computers, and those that manage to get some of these equipment, corruption comes in play. Some of these facilities don't reach the would-be beneficiaries. So that is hindering the rural areas in so many aspects of development, technology inclusive. And that's why most of these investments that flourish, blossom in those areas, don't have the actual catalyst to expand them way beyond the borders, the rural borders, coming to the city center, and they spread to the regional perspective. Now, of course, we have the cybersecurity concerns, as of course robust cybersecurity measures are essential to protect investors from online data breaches, because we've seen tendencies of where some of the database, remember these artificial intelligence deals with the database, and somebody can actually hack into the database and change the analytics, and just to favor his market and his interest, and that is very misleading when it comes to investment decision making. Of course, regulatory frameworks, adapting regulations to keep pace with the technological advancements is also quite very key and crucial to that. So those are quite some of the key aspects: cybersecurity concerns, limited technological infrastructure, and the regulatory frameworks being put into play for that. So despite that technology is rapidly transforming the investment landscape in Uganda, offering innovative solutions to safeguard investment and unlock potential, of course, by leveraging on all this, it will quantify the economic value, and benchmarking with other countries is also quite key and important. And as we it's not copy and paste, of course, you make the idea much more better, but it's all for the good of the region, most especially if we are talking about a one market for the African nations. We all need to be at par when it comes to digitization of trade, that way. Well, let's take a break for now, a quick one, and we're returning back to wind up this discussion. I'm Andrew Barija with Godwin Batuma. Smart means business, the role of technology in investor protection.
Smart 24, driving business.
Roll up, roll up. Let's go. Welcome to DSTV Land, the most awesomest place to spend your holidays.
Suffering succotash.
There's loads to explore with something for everyone.
Amazing.
All the best shows.
Wow.
All the best buds.
It is pretty great.
So don't miss out and let the holiday fun begin.
It's a blast.
Only on DSTV.
Smart 24, driving business.
Minutes to the top of the hour, definitely heading into the last minutes of the show with the discussion of the role of technology when it comes to investor protection. But of course, before I proceed any further, I want you to understand a few facts here. Of course, according to the Bank of Uganda, the mobile money penetration is at 70%. So far, and that is quite pretty positive. And of course, taking a look at the mobile money transaction volume, according to the World Bank, is $47 billion. Huge, quite huge. And fintech investment in Uganda brings us to about $44 million. This is according to Statista. It's of course an organization with the current statistics of different sectors of a given country's economy. And of course, GDP growth 6.3% 2023. That's according to the International Monetary Fund. Of course, now heading back to this discussion, we're taking a look at the fintech solutions, and of course in relation to investor protection and confidence.
It's interesting because we see here with fintech, the financial technology has been playing a key role, of course, in improving access to financial services, reducing transaction costs, and increasing transparency and accountability. So fintech innovations in Uganda include mobile payments, remittances, digital lending and credit risk assessment, savings, platforms, insurance products, and digital identity solutions. So we also see here that fintech has also has the potential to foster financial inclusion and resilience for the undeserved segments of the population. What do you think about that?
Very absolutely true. And we see the aspect of digital lending, of course, lending platforms which use AI, and of course they can assess credit worthiness of somebody, and they offer loans to underserved populations. Now, definitely this promotes financial access to small businesses and individuals, but raises concerns about over-indebtedness and predatory lending practices. Now, with the lending bit of it, Godwin, you see, once people have access to money, they're going to be in position to buy. Now, this is how it actually protects the investor. I know that if I invest that commodity in the country, I know that the market is there. Why? Because people have access to credit. And why is the access to credit being made possible? platforms have been designed to measure the credit worthiness of somebody, and they can get a micro loan.
And also you find that people in underserved segments of the nation, of the population, in the rural areas, marginalized communities, are able to access these loans, and that able to understand their relationship with loans and money starts to change. So it allows them to sort of do a lot of more business in the country.
They spend a lot.
They spend more because they have a backing.
They have a backing.
By any macro investment company or things like that, or fintech. So it allows them to be able to understand and listen. They're also part of the conversation as well.
Absolutely beautiful. So the digital learning platforms are quite contributing to this. You know, this is a dynamic discussion that rotates around so many aspects when it comes to investment. Of course, some of the aspects involve to the investor straight. But now these other aspects are relying on the population, the underserved populations, because these are your customers, these are your bosses, and they need to really have access to this credit to do that. Now, of course, we have the InsurTech, of course, with startups in Uganda, which are using technology to provide affordable insurance for farmers and low-income earners. And of course, this mitigates risk and boosting resilience at the same time. But of course, challenges with product awareness and regulatory clarity still persist.
And it's an interesting one we see here with policy environment as well. The government of Uganda has been taking steps to create a conducive policy environment for attracting and retaining foreign direct investment, FDI. Some of the measures include streamlining the investment approval process, and of course establishing a one-stop center for investors, providing tax incentives, which is very essential. And we talked about this especially regarding foreign investors and how their tax incentives, tax holidays might also hinder the prop-up of our local companies to grow up and be able to do it, because they're mostly doing it for foreign investors, assuming that they're going to bring in a lot more money. And yet we need a lot more investors. Exactly. So it's a whole conversation we've been having regarding that. So it's a very interesting one. And of course, strengthening the legal and regulatory framework for investment protection and dispute resolution. You know, we struggle with dispute resolution here. And then we see, of course, however, there's still room for improvement in terms of offering equitable treatment and transfer of funds and addressing corruption and governance issues.
Okay.
Thoughts on that?
Beautiful. And now, of course, if we still linking fintech solutions to investment, to investor protection, of course, I see the aspect of the financial inclusion as fintech is bridging gap between traditional finance and underbanked populations, of course, fostering economic participation and poverty reduction at the same time. Now, this translates to increased tax revenue, higher GDP growth, and improved living standards. Of course, where there is more spending and by expense, there is a tax. So the government is increasing the revenue.
It is, and it's an interesting one. Yeah, and regarding fintech as well, the science and innovation space, and that's been able to help in terms of Uganda has been investing in science and technology and innovation as a driver of socio-economic and transformation and development. The Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation, we see, has been supporting various initiatives to promote research and innovation, which is interesting, right? So we have innovation hubs that are coming up, incubation centers, and technology transfer. What this allows for is the ideas to be manufactured in that sort of ideas incubator, where we're able to sort of pick out the best ideas and start to invest in that
space. And now, of course, still we take a look at the Investors' Confidence Index. That is quite another key point of discussion. Now, of course, the regulatory uncertainty that is around the financial technology poses challenges for investor confidence. Now, Uganda is definitely one of those countries that are making strides with initiatives like the fintech sandbox and the regulatory sandboxes. But of course, more needs to be done to ensure that data privacy, first of all, consumer protection, and anti-money laundering measures are robust at the same time. Of course, once you have all this in place, it will definitely boost the investor confidence index that way. And of course, the job creation still at the same time. with the booming fintech sectors creating employment opportunities in software development. Of course, taking a look at data analysis. I think we've discussed data analysis today. All the viewers now can really understand when we talk about analytics,
and
data
how it
analysis,
helps the investor.
and how it helps the investor. You can clearly tell what really this entails. Now, this skilled workforce, which is of course being trained with the job creation, software development, contributes to national development, which definitely leads to further investments being attracted in a country. Now, some of the investors these days, all aspects are actually changing, because I believe it's no use for an investor to come in a country. If they're coming with the initiative of being a venture capital firm in a certain local industry, they may not necessarily avert their resources to your advantage unless you have policies that are in support of digitization of trade,
right.
Automating trade. Do you have policies? Okay, you don't have the automation yet, but do you have a framework that highlights probably 2 years from now, we plan to automate this, we plan to automate transactions?
Something can be an easy turn on for a lot of investors to be able to look at it and say, listen, this is what their plan is, this is their framework, this is something that we can work with to be able to see this is where the company is at, so the country is at, as opposed to them assuming that your company, which is why I'm a huge advocate for we need to be able to document a lot of the businesses.
Document the businesses.
Yeah. A lot of businesses here are not taxable, they're not taxing, they're not paying any taxes to anybody, they're just sitting there and making money, right? And because of that, they're not documented enough for them to be quantifiable as a company. Say, what can we do with it? What are your returns? What's your return on investments? What your annual returns looking like? They do not want to report those things. They just want to make money and keep it to themselves, which is why we are changing as a nation to where everything is becoming completely AI, is becoming digital. We're going to be able to look at that. It's going to be one of the ways in which we bolster the framework. The framework. It helps the framework when we know a lot of the businesses are documented and are on air. We're able to understand this is what's been happening, this is how they've been performing, this is how we can start to invest in the country as a whole. And also regarding this, we see that, of course, 70 investor firms to support Uganda's science innovations as well, in terms of that space, right? Space, yeah. Science and innovation. So we see over 70 firms have committed to invest in innovations in line with Uganda's science, technology, and innovations in the country in a bid to boost socio-economic transformation. The commitments were revealed by the Minister of Science and Technology.
Okay, beautiful. Now, of course, in relation to what is happening to our neighbors here, Kenya, which is the regional leader when it comes to the mobile money and innovation, it boasts quite a more advanced regulatory framework for the financial technology. Of course, however, we see that similar challenges with data privacy and predatory still exist in some sort of a way. Kenya is really doing it well, and the regional leader, and now coming into Nigeria with its large population and the vibrant tech scene, it's attracting substantial fintech investment, particularly in insurance technology and blockchain. Regulatory concerns still remain, but of course there are frameworks to really deal with that related perspective. And globally, countries like the United States, the United Kingdom have mature fintech ecosystems with stringent regulations. Uganda can actually definitely pick a leaf from that. Wow, one thing I've come to realize in all these perspectives, the fintech solution, if you've noticed, it all comes back to regulations in that sector. The enforcement and the rate of enforcement.
And it's an important one, and it starts with the government, right? If we're able to take the corruption dent out of our sphere and just focus on being able to really bolster this space, because technology is the future. We cannot deny it. When I went to Kenya in 2021, and I was there for about 6 months, and you will see how everything was cashless. So by the time I went in the country and I went to get my M-Pesa line, and it took me about 2 minutes to be able to have that done. So we have a lot of work to do, because that is going to be able to allow investors to have more faith in the country. I know that, listen, I'm not just going to just rest on faith. While I'm in America, I'm able to see what's happening. I can be able to track with proper analytics and see what's happening with my business.
Wow, absolutely beautiful. And there, we made a statement. Now, of course, what are we looking forward for? Of course, collaboration between fintech startups, I think, would be very key. Regulators and traditional financial institutions will be crucial in fostering a responsible, inclusive fintech ecosystem. You see, once we accumulate more of these fintech related, and they are not having any economic value in terms of attracting investors, investor confidence, they will become a huge cost to maintain. At the end of the day, once there is no legal frameworks to ensure that in case of any breach in transactions, the responsible parties are held accountable in either penalty or in some sort of a way according to
being able to have those checks and balances
those checks and balances
which is
in
really
place for
important.
that. Because only then, because if the system has a wrong testimony from the people that have probably had the worst experiences, definitely that is going to drive away investors because the technology will have a breach,
It is, because with the technology and being able to have the social infrastructure, digital infrastructure developed and bolstered, and one of the ways in which we've been denied that is, of course, we're not having up to snuff technology. People are not having up to snuff Wi-Fi. Our Wi-Fi technology, our Wi-Fi infrastructure is still extremely poor. People are still paying a lot of money for Wi-Fi, access to Wi-Fi. So if they don't have their mobile data, they can't go to remote, or they can't go
to spaces and
have the Wi-Fi on, which other countries have. So for a lot of investors, that's what they're used to. So they're coming in here and they have to buy data. Now they have to buy data to talk to someone, buy data now to call their farmer, buy this. They're thinking, there's a poor technological infrastructure that we still have that we need to be able to have. We have to have more subsidized prices regarding internet, more subsidized prices regarding the Wi-Fi. It's going to be able to bolster how these people are able to work with us, knowing like, listen, I'm in the States, I'm in Massachusetts, and I'm able to monitor on ground in real time what's happening, how they're digging the plants, what's the ground looking like, what's happening with the packaging. All these things they're able to monitor.
And you see another aspect, if you've established a fintech system with poor technology, with poor internet connectivity, it will delay transactions, because at some point in time there could be a reversal of the transaction, and you send the money right now and the recipient gets it 2 hours later. So the velocity of money is delayed to that extent.
So in those 2 hours, what's happening?
Imagine in those 2 hours, what is going to happen, in terms of that. Probably that person, the recipient, is supposed to go and purchase some merchandise, and so there is a disruption
using
in
your money, and then have to track that. That's a huge one.
So you see how the value chain, the entire supply chain, is hindered by just a glitch.
And when when a person is working for you starts to touch into their own pockets, they start to lose trust in you.
The trust.
Because anything, you should have done that for me.
Absolutely true. And of course, investor education is key. Of course, with the fintech rewards, with assessments that come along, there is need to have what we call investor education. Data privacy, with robust data privacy frameworks are needed to protect the investor's information and prevent misuse at the same time. Of course, as we wind this discussion up, I'll give you a few statistics here, which I mentioned earlier when I was actually introducing this last discussion about the mobile penetration. According to the Bank of Uganda, being 70%, and the mobile money transaction volume $47 billion. That's according to the World Bank as of statistics that stand for 2021, and the fintech investment in Uganda, which currently stands at $44 billion. That's according to a report of 2021 from Statista. Yes, and the GDP growth 6.3% according to the IMF. So all these figures are all into the interplay when it comes to Uganda's development. Now, of course, while driving financial inclusion, the sheer volume of transactions creates challenges still in fraud detection and dispute resolution. Now, of course, as much as we're discussing this, of course, it comes to how these trends interplay of themselves. Now, this necessitates the mobile money transaction monitoring systems and efficient mechanisms for investor protection for that. And are we yet there? That's the biggest question as a result of that. The insurance technology, of course, Nigeria, where the country of Nigeria has highly developed The innovative products tailored to specific needs like weather-indexed insurance for farmers can significantly mitigate the risks. But of course, the future lies in leveraging technology to expand insurance coverage and ensure fair settlement process, building investor trust in the sector. And personally, I feel as we're winding this up, this is something that should across all sectors, all markets of the economy, because once one sector has a developed, fintech system is operating in another sector better than this, in terms of the innovative solutions, it will outpace this other sector. And once we have regional imbalances, definitely the failure of one sector to keep up to the standards can influence the sector which is already there to decline, because these markets feed on each other.
Which then impedes a lot of investments that's coming in from potential investors, right? Yeah. Because they're thinking...
Take investments in those different sectors.
Exactly.
In all the different...
Definitely.
To serve all these markets.
Exactly.
All right, beautiful. We come to the end of the show, 10 minutes to 10 a.m. I've been Andrew Marije with Godwin Batuma, driving you through all the way 3 hours from 7 up to 9. Well, I'm going to wish you a happy day. Go be productive. I know it's towards the festive season. Hey, you need to be careful with your life. Take care of yourself as we are about to enter into the year 2024. Till tomorrow, good morning.